Am I wrong for blowing up at my dad for asking me to pay for a family dinner? I, 27 male, lost my mom at 15 in a road accident. I was a fairly airheaded kid in school and was graded academically. My dad, 48 male, remarried to Isabel 10 months later for my care. The 2 years after my mom's passing were extremely hard on me. Isabel was temperamental with me, sometimes nice or almost ignoring me. She had a son who was 2 years older. We practically had no relationship as he moved for college around the time they got married. When I was 17, I was going through old pictures. I ran into some domestic pictures of Isabel and my dad. I realized many of them were from Seattle. Only time my dad was there was when he had been working on site for weeks the year before my mom died. There had been a fight between my parents about the on-sites not bringing the family extra money. I realized that my dad was probably cheating on my mom with Isabel prior to her death. I don't know if my mom knew this, though I think so. I kept it quiet because Isabel was pregnant with my stepsister at this time. I found out later that year that my mom had left me as her sole inheritor, which was quite some money. Her parents' inheritance money and 50% of the house. This had helped me pay for college. My dad challenged this will, causing some delay in executing it. Some words were said about my mom, which I didn't like. My dad also had taken $6,000 from my account. I let it go because I honestly was happy to have money for college. After moving out of state to college, I've been low contact with my dad. I had a court wedding due to COVID and have a 7-month-old now. 2 weeks ago, I was in town and my dad decided to meet me and my family, which I agreed to. It was at a nicer restaurant in town and along came Isabel, my stepsister, and Isabel's son, his girlfriend, and 2 kids. The dinner was good until Isabel brought the house up and mentioned my stepbrother's wife losing her job. I deflected this to a private chat with my dad. No fucking way am I giving it up. This made the conversation much more difficult. When the check came, my dad asked me to take care of the bill and I refused, asking them to split it. I had no idea everyone was coming and had no contact with any of them prior to this. My dad started to bring up how I had a nest egg and my mom babied me. Suddenly, my stepbrother said, "Dude, just get it. You'll be fine." I kind of saw red at this moment and I told him to shut the fuck up and that my mom gave me the money because my dad was an adulterer. Isabel got in the middle and asked me not to talk to my dad like that, and my wife tried to calm me down. I said I don't want anything to do with this family and to keep our relationship just between me and my dad. Anyways, more words were shared and I handed them the cash on my side and left. My wife said I shouldn't have acted like that but still had my side. So, was I wrong here for my reaction?
Am I the asshole for not letting my dad get a paternity test? My dad wants to get a paternity test because he's recently convinced that I'm not his daughter. My mom ran away to another country with some guy when I was 8 years old. Lately, my dad's gotten really sure that she was cheating on him long before and that I'm actually someone else's baby. He keeps talking about how paternity fraud is a big issue and he needs a paternity test to be sure he's not getting sucked into raising another man's kid. I don't know why this is only coming up now, and honestly it really hurts my feelings that he's like, "I don't think you're really my kid." I'm biased and obviously I don't think I'm a difficult kid. I get good grades, I don't drink or do drugs, and I don't talk back. So why does it feel like he's so desperate for me to not be his? Does he really hate being my dad that much? Even though I'm pretty sure I am his real daughter because we look pretty similar, I'm kind of scared of what might happen if he finds out I'm not. Like, would he stop caring about me? Would he kick me out? I have nowhere to go. So even though he's fully set on getting a test, I'm refusing and he's mad about it. I even told him I would consider doing it when I'm 18 because I'm 16 now. But apparently he needs it right now. Am I the asshole for refusing?
Am I the asshole for leaving my boyfriend stuck at a party for a joke? So I've been with my boyfriend for about 6 months. We don't live together, but I spend a lot of my time at his place. A week ago or so, I was feeling quite sick. Not wanting to drive home, I spent the night at his place. He woke me up at about 5 a.m, and to my great embarrassment, I had wet the bed. I helped him clean up the best I could. I had a temp of about 103.8, and he took me to the hospital, and they kept me overnight. A few days later, when I saw him again, I apologized for what happened. He told me it's alright, and that he got me a gift. He pulled out a package of adult diapers and threw them at me. I told him that I didn't think that it was very funny, and explained that I was embarrassed, but he thought it was hilarious. I decided to let it go and talk about it later. We went to a party that night. I drove since he doesn't have a car. After he had a few beers, he started loudly telling people what had happened, forgetting to mention that I was sick and had a high fever, just the part of me wetting the bed and him buying the diapers. He encouraged my friends to joke about it, and after trying to explain but being talked over or laughed at, I left and went home. My boyfriend is obviously quite upset I left without him. I just didn't want to be stuck in a car with him for an hour. He sent me several texts since then, most of which are calling me too sensitive and not able to take a joke. Some of my friends agree with him. So am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for shaming my in-laws after my mother-in-law told a romantic story? I don't like my in-laws. I'll be honest, we've always had issues. Mother-in-law grew up wealthy, and as of right now, I would classify them as full-blown rich, but when they got married, her family disowned her, and they were poor for a little while. The one thing I actually find very redeeming in mother-in-law is that despite how vain and materialistic she is, she really did love her husband more than the money. On the other hand, my biggest issue with my mother-in-law and father-in-law is that they love each other way more than they loved their kids, and mother-in-law actually looks down on me for prioritizing my children and makes snide comments that she feels bad for her son. We were talking about Christmas recently, and mother-in-law made fun of people who don't like the materialism because that is the best part. She then told me what she clearly considered a sweet story about when they were poor, father-in-law worked extra shifts and saved to buy her a diamond ring because she didn't get an engagement ring. My husband made a joke comment about how he probably didn't get anything that Christmas, and mother-in-law laughed and admitted that he did get something from the dollar store because she did the budget and spent all the money on father-in-law, and father-in-law spent all the money he saved on her ring. She laughed like it was funny, but I didn't think it was, and my kids looked at me kind of confused because in our house, Christmas is all about the kids. Mother-in-law called me out on making a face, and I was honest and told her that that was pretty weird, and in my world, kids get Christmas presents first. Some years my husband and I don't even exchange gifts. Mother-in-law got defensive and said that my husband can't even remember that year, but she can, and said marriage is forever. Kids leave and have new families. I said that I stood by what I said, and mother-in-law seemed upset, and father-in-law said that I was just jealous because my husband wouldn't do that for me. It definitely made the mood weird, and when we left, mother-in-law muttered that I like making her look bad to my kids, which I don't think is true. They are just perceptive and curious and have their own opinions of her. Am I the asshole?
Okay, so I don't know if you're still taking paranormal stories for a future episode, but I figure I send in my experience. So my freshman year, I was in a triple dorm with 2 girls who I genuinely did not get along with. However, we are all united on the front that something weird/spooky was happening in our room. We were on the 2nd story of our dorm building, and often we would begin to hear Jack and the Box music. We would go investigate with all 3 of us to see if anyone in the hallway was playing music or outside our window, but never found anyone. This would happen frequently. Other times, we would all be watching something on the television we shared, and suddenly, books would fall from the shelves they had been on, and the TV would glitch. One time while watching TV, it turned itself off, and the TV stand shook, and the flat screen fell over. After a few occurrences like this, we decided to tell our RA about our weird experiences together because we did not want to seem crazy, and she informed us that lots of people on the floors above us, but in the same room, had reported similar happenings to their RAs. The freakiest happening didn't come until we shared with our RA, though. Our dorm room doors were on the hydraulic hinges, so no one could slam the door, and they would shut slowly behind. This meant that no one could pull the door shut quickly. It simply couldn't be done. Every night we all triple-checked the door being locked before bed because of how bad all of our anxiety was. On one night after we had all checked on the door and gone to lay down in our lofted beds, the door slammed open and was slammed shut again just as quickly. We all 3 screamed because it shocked and terrified us from not only the noise, but realization it should not have been physically possible due to the door being locked and the hinges the door used. Our screams were so loud that our RA and other people on our floor ran to see what was wrong and tried to open our door. It was locked again, just as it had been when we checked it before the incident. After the incident, we all struggled to live there. It was scary and my anxiety increased 100%. Small things happened here and there, like the Bluetooth speaker turning on and playing creepy classical music, despite my roommate being the only one connected to it with a password. Nothing like the door incident ever happened again, but my RA did share a picture of the ghost we all believed was haunting us from one of the residents that lived above us. I attached the picture here.
This story tells of a husband and wife who run a butcher shop. Every day, the 2 seem to be busy preparing meat for sale. But there is a dog who always pays attention to the meat they sell. When they were off guard, the dog immediately stole a piece of meat and took it away. The shopkeeper became very angry and immediately yelled at the dog. Because he did not accept the meat he was selling was taken away by the dog, the man immediately ran after the dog while carrying his machete. His wife tried to stop her husband, but he was not listened to. His wife started to panic and was afraid. A few moments later, the husband returned with a machete covered in blood. He looked so tired. After putting down the bloodied machete, he then sat outside his shop looking at his cell phone. In an instant, his expression changed as if he was happily staring at his cell phone. Unexpectedly, it turned out that he was looking at photos of puppies who were voraciously eating meat that had been cut into small pieces. It turned out that the man actually gave up the meat out of pity for the dogs. His wife was so happy and proud as she looked at her husband.
We vibe into a different height. Your hands touching my scars, body's shaking hard. I believe I can fly. Da-dee-da-da-da, with you by my side. I believe I can fly. Da-dee-da-da-da, you make me go so high. I believe I can fly. Believe. Da-dee-da-da-da, with you by my side. I believe I can fly. Believe. Da-dee-da-da-da.
Hi guys, thank you for watching. I love you guys so much. Please like and subscribe to see more great videos. See you again.